Hey there folks, Bill O'Leary, and in this video I'm going to be talking about gun trust. The question is, do you need a gun trust? Before jumping in, again, quick introduction. Bill O'Leary, I'm an attorney and my firm is Legacy Planning Law Group in Jacksonville, Florida, where we focus on estate planning, elder law, and probate. Look, the Second Amendment, we all know what it is. It is a highly valued constitutional right to keep and bear arms. That said, there are laws in place that do impose restrictions. So before I jump into a gun trust and what it can do, quick overview of the gun laws. There are two types of firearms that are regulated, if you will, by the gun laws. One are what are called NFA firearms. NFA stands for National Firearms Act. These are also referred to sometimes as Title II firearms. They are highly regulated. I like to call these the big stuff. First, you've got to go through what's called a Federal Firearms Licensee, or FFL, to transfer across state lines. Second, this is what I really want to focus on, that only the owner of that firearm can possess it. Well, what do I mean by that? Nobody else can. So imagine that I own a firearm like that, and you're with me, and you're 5 feet away, and I give it to you just to hold for a couple of minutes. That is an illegal possession of the firearm because you're not the owner. That's actual possession. The law also prohibits constructive possession. What's that? Imagine that you have a firearm, it's in your house. You don't have it secured in a gun safe, and you live in the house with your spouse, okay, who is not the owner. That's constructive possession, big problem. Imagine you have a car, it's in the trunk of your car, you loan the car to somebody, constructive possession. Or let's say it is in a gun safe, you give them the code to the safe, constructive possession. Why is it a big deal? 10 years in prison, $250,000 fine, and a forfeiture not only of the firearms at issue, but your right to own guns for the rest of your life. So it's a big deal. The gun laws also regulate what are called non-NFA firearms, the vast majority of firearms. Not as restrictive, but here's the big restriction I want to focus on. There is a whole list of people that cannot own or prohibited from owning a firearm of any kind. They're called prohibited persons. And I'm not going to go through everybody on the list. There are three I want to really focus on because they tend to trip people up. One, you've been convicted of domestic violence, number one. Number two, you're on probation. Even for a misdemeanor or a DUI, you're not allowed to own a firearm. Three, you're a habitual user of controlled substances. Oh no, by the way, marijuana is still illegal under federal law. So that's an overview of the gun laws. Gun trust, where does that come into play? How does it benefit? Let's focus on the big stuff again, those NFA or Title II firearms. It avoids that criminal liability for the actual or constructive possession, because the way it works is you can constantly add people to your trust as co-trustees with you to allow them to use the firearm that's owned by the trust, and then you can simply remove them from the trust. And so it's this constant adding and removing, while somebody's added and they actually hold it, there's not criminal liability. Gun trust also limits the number of people that have to submit paperwork to ATF forms 4 and 23. So that's usually limited to one person, and that's the person that sets up the trust. But people that are added and removed, if you do it right, they don't have to send in a paperwork, background check, fingerprints, and the like. A gun trust with these NFA firearms also protects the novice executor. Imagine your spouse is your executor, may not be a gun enthusiast, may not know the gun laws, and may not know that if you die owning an NFA firearm, there are requirements to register that firearm and restrictions on transporting it across state lines, okay? You don't want to expose your novice executor to that criminal liability. What about the non-NFA firearms? Where does a gun trust come into play there? It avoids two risks. One is a lifetime risk. Imagine that you're out hunting with a family member and you let them use your hunting rifle and they misuse it. They're careless and they cause injury to somebody else. You may have civil liability for what's called negligent entrustment of a firearm. That's the lifetime risk that a gun trust prevents. The after-death risk is another risk that a gun trust prevents. So again, imagine you have a novice executor who doesn't know the gun laws. They don't know that there are a whole list of people that are prohibited persons, not allowed to receive that handgun or that rifle, through your will, let's say. Let's say you have decided to give your hunting rifle to your nephew Johnny, who at the time of your death is a pothead. He doesn't know the gun laws. Your spouse's executor doesn't know the gun laws. She transfers or he transfers the firearm to Johnny. Both are on the hook for that criminal liability, okay? In addition, even if somebody, a beneficiary, is not on that list of prohibited persons, they may live in a state that is highly regulated. Florida at the state level is not that regulated, but other states are. We don't want to transfer that firearm to somebody living in that state. A few other benefits of a gun trust: there's privacy. So the gun trust can hold multiple firearms of any sort and nobody will know because it's completely private. Also a great way to avoid probate, so the family does not have to go through the probate court to transfer those firearms to your heirs. And it's a way to protect an immature beneficiary who may not be quite ready to own a firearm that can be held in the trust until they reach a level of maturity. So bottom line, I like to call these gun trusts an opportunity, sort of a family legacy to pass those firearms on, what we like to call sometimes the family armory. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about a gun trust and whether you need a gun trust and you'd like to talk to us, we would love to talk to you. So we invite you to go ahead and book a free 15-minute phone call that we call our discovery phone call. Just go to the link at the bottom of this video, click on it, takes you straight to our booking calendar, pick the day and time that works for you. If you've enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our YouTube channel. So Bill O'Leary signing off for now. Until the next video, go make it a great day and a better world.